I'm not somebody special. I tend to be very conceited. I've got a lot of ego when it comes to Mordekaiser. And this confidence comes from the fact that I've played him now for 10 years. I often call myself the greatest Mordekaiser player alive, despite me never having ever been rank 1. A lot of this is faking it till I make it, guys. The truth is, I've got an extraordinarily low self-esteem. I had a very abusive childhood growing up. In fact, I left home at 17 with absolutely nothing. No shirt on my back, no socks or shoes on my feet, not even glasses, without which I can't really see. I not only grew up in an abusive home, but I grew up in literal poverty. We didn't have running water. My bedroom was in the living room, and the thing I called a bed was really just a half mattress, half sofa with springs that stuck out of the sofa. It wasn't very comfortable. You see, my stepdad, he was this mentally abusive son of a bitch, and no matter how hard I worked, he always found something to complain about or blame me for. He regularly called me useless, and he made my entire childhood feel like trash. I spent months of my childhood confined to that bed when I got grounded. You see, my stepdad, he would walk into the house and say, "You're being punished. I'm not going to tell you what you did wrong because it's a waste of my time. No matter what I say, you're going to deny it anyways. So lay in the bed until I tell you your time is up." And I would lay in that bed, and I would get grounded so often I kind of got a feel for how long I was going to be there for. If I wasn't ungrounded at the end of the day, I knew I'd be there for at least 2 days. If I wasn't ungrounded at the end of 2 days, I knew I was going to be there for at least 7. And if I wasn't ungrounded at the end of 7 days, then I knew all hope was lost, and that I was going to spend another fucking week staring at that same peeling wallpaper with nothing to do except, quote, think about what I did wrong. But I did nothing wrong. I was innocent every fucking time. And that was what my childhood was like. When I left home, it took a lot of courage. It was a really big decision. I was only 17. I didn't know if I would ever have any sort of stability. But I took the chance because I hated my life and I believed it couldn't get worse. My very first year of college was one of the happiest and best times of my life. I made friends for the first time ever. I discovered a love for gaming at the age of 19. I started out with StarCraft. It was literally my first game. My friends convinced me after weeks of bugging me to try out League of Legends, which had just left beta. And to be honest, I think my friend just wanted me to try out the game so he could get a friend referral, but I ended up really loving the game. I loved what it was about. I loved the way the game worked. I discovered Mordekaiser sometime later when my account experienced the very first champion rotation. I thought my account had bugged and I'd accidentally unlocked something amazing. So despite Blitzcrank being the first champion I ever bought, Mordekaiser was the first champion I ever enjoyed playing. What began as fun eventually turned into a goal, guys. As the seasons went by and more people told me that the champion I loved playing was trash, was useless. Does this sound familiar? We called Morde Riot's unloved stepson because it was a very good metaphor. 9.5 years of existence, not a single champion spotlight, barely got any skins, and traditionally, Riot Games just overlooks the champion over and over and over again, and they don't listen to anything anyone in their community has to say. So to call him an unloved stepson was an apt term, but for me, it was more than that. People said that Morde was trash, but None of the people who called him trash took the time to know him, took the time to learn him. They literally never even played a single game. I could relate to that. My stepfather never took the time to truly know who I was. He made assumptions about me. He insulted my character. It was a bad time. It's something I'll always keep with me. So I defended Mordekaiser because I knew him inside and out. I took the time to cherish this champion. I didn't judge the book by its cover. I actually opened it up and read the damn thing. I was part of a stubborn family of Mordekaiser mains. No matter what the community said, we stuck by our underdog. We didn't love him because he was an underdog. We loved him because we believed he was better than what everyone else said. And that is what made him an underdog. When I think about what Riot Games ultimately did to our community, to the champion that we spent so much time defending and trying to prove was good, it really upsets me. Because you see, I eventually had to stick up for myself and leave that toxic situation. And you know, if everyone in my life had treated me the way my stepdad did, I would not have had a very good life. But thankfully, he was just one toxic individual, and thankfully, the majority of people don't make assumptions. But for Mordekaiser, although it's just a character in a video game, for me, it was a little something more. And I don't want to sound like I'm mentally unstable. I just really enjoyed the character, and I identified with the way this character was treated on a personal level. And that's what Mordekaiser means to me. And despite the fact that Riot Games has destroyed my favorite thing about this game, I still love the community. When my school dropped my major and lost accreditation and closed, I had less than 30 days to figure out what I was going to do with my life. I had no money saved, and it felt really unfair because I had overcome so much to get to where I was, and I was pursuing so many great dreams. And then life decided to slap me again. But the community I had built in League of Legends, the friends I had made, the players I had duoed with for years, came to my aid when I needed them the most. I raised over $2,000 in a month and found a place to stay rent-free from a League of Legends Marine who was going to be stationed in Okinawa. He wanted someone to squat on his house, and that gave me a place to stay. And I used those 6 months, you guys. I really used those 6 months. And 5.5 years later, I own my own home. I'm happily married. I have a very productive life. And League of Legends is my hobby. It's my nostalgic me time. It's what I come back to time and again when I'm feeling down, when I need a reminder that I'm not the only one out there. And the Mordekaiser main community is one of my favorite parts about League. But when Riot Games reworked our champion, they ruined our community. Our moderators were so paranoid about us becoming just like Aatrox main that they made talking about how much we hated the rework taboo. So many people meme about the new Mordekaiser. He became so popular overnight, mainly for being an extremely easy to play champion that's considered freelo, that Flavor of the Month players flocked in the droves to our subreddit. Our membership more than quadrupled over a series of mere months, and now we're outnumbered 5-1. Despite the fact that we were the ones who founded the community, that we were the ones who grew the community, that we were the ones that carried the community for nearly a decade. Now, suddenly, we are the ones no longer welcome. That's really unfair. I know that change has to happen. I accept that. And I know that change is often a good thing. I won't argue that. But the way that Riot Games decides to implement their changes isn't fair to those that have enjoyed their game for so long. I really wish the devs that worked on Riot Games would hear this video and that they would rethink the way they treated the top content creators in our community. You need to understand something. There is literally not a single OG, well-known Mordekaiser content creator left. FaZe Summit, gone. Tasty Potato, gone. Mid Mordekaiser, gone. Me, the King of EloHell, the longest playing Mord main of them all, gone. All of us have stopped making content because none of us enjoy playing new Mordekaiser. Manute, who was actually in on the rework, he got to playtest it. When he flew back to his home country, he quit League of Legends and became a TFT streamer. Very few of the people who enjoyed old Mordekaiser like the new, and almost all of us collectively believe that old Mordekaiser was better in many ways. And I could go on and on about it, but to be honest, I don't want to bore you. So I've said my piece, and I appreciate you listening. This is the King of EloHell signing off. Thank you.